Hey guys, it's Adrian, and today I have something super exciting. I have Reolink's brand new Duo 3 PoE camera. I really love the Duo 2 thanks to the 180 degrees field of view, 24/7 recording, and all in 4K quality. So when Reolink contacted me to review the Duo 3, I was super excited. And the reason is because we're still getting that impressive 180 degrees field of view that we're used to, 24/7 recording, of course, but we now have 16 megapixels resulting in 8K video. So let's take a closer look at the Reolink Duo 3 PoE camera to see if it's worth the upgrade from the Duo 2, and a big thanks to Reolink for sending this out for review. In the box, we have the Reolink Duo 3 camera. We have the mount, a mounting plate for it. We also have a quick start guide, security sticker, and a mounting guide along with an Ethernet cable and mounting hardware. The design of the Reolink Duo 3 looks very familiar to the Reolink Duo 2, which is a design that I really liked. So we have the dual lens, and then we also have some spotlight LEDs here, and this is what gives us that impressive 180 degrees field of view. Now at the very bottom, we have a weather sealed area here, and if we open that up, we have access to the micro SD card slot, which allows you to have up to 256 gigabytes, and then the reset and power button. Now we also have a threaded mount at the very bottom and at the top, because you can either have this, ceiling mounted or wall mounted. And then we also have a speaker grill here. Looking at the very back of the camera, so we have pre-ran wiring, and we have a protective weather cover here for the power adapter. And then we also have a protective covering for the Ethernet port or the RJ45 port. The Reolink Duo 3 comes in at roughly 530 grams or 1.5 pounds. There's an impressive 16 megapixel sensor capable of 8K resolution. We have 180 degrees field of view using an f1.6 lens with a 30-meter infrared range. There's two-way audio, power over Ethernet, up to 256 gigabyte micro SD card support, and it is also compatible with the Reolink NVR. There's smart detection. The camera can record 24/7 by motion or scheduled recordings. The spotlight is 560 lumens and it has an IP67 rating. I'm going to go ahead and add the Duo 3 to the Reolink app. So I'll click the plus sign here, go ahead and scan the QR code located at the back of the camera body. And I'm just going to wait for everything to set up. So that was fairly quick, and what I'm just going to do is use my existing password that I use for my Duo 2. The setup was super quick, so I'll just start live view to confirm everything is good. And I'll just run my hand in front of the camera lens there. To install, secure the rear mounting bracket to your wall or ceiling. Then insert the extension arm and finally secure it with the last remaining screw. Then connect the RJ45 or Ethernet cable and use the weather sealed supplied accessories, and you're done. Let's take a look at the Duo 3 settings. So of course you can do all of this on a cell phone. I'm just choosing to do it on a computer since Reolink does give us software, and one of the reasons why I love these Reolink cameras, we have both options, phone or software. Now I'm currently on live view, you can see at the top here, and of course I can switch to playback. Now right from live view, I can set the stream quality to be clear, balanced, or fluent, and you would only set it to fluent if you don't have a strong internet connection. You could see the quality is much less, including the bitrate. So I'll switch it back to clear, and then we're going to have the best possible quality. And you can see if I zoom in, I could easily make out my license plate, the writing on the recycle bin. I could even see my dash cam in here, and this kind of like hanging decoration that I have in the car. So yeah, the quality is really good. If I try to go over to the neighbor's yard, I can't make out their license plates from here, and that's because that's about maybe 70 to 80 feet away. But anything within this range, it's easy to make out. Now it's a very windy day today. You can see the trees going here, so you may notice a little bit of shaking. And we also have kind of detection boxes here, which is an optional feature, and I'll show how you can turn that off later. But from the live view menu, I can go ahead and initiate two-way talk with whoever's outside. I can also go ahead and start a time lapse, which I'll demo later, and then I can trigger the alarm manually if I saw something suspicious. I could turn on the spotlight. I can also start taking a manual recording if I didn't have this set to 24/7 recording, and I can also take a snapshot and again go ahead and change that stream speed or bitrate. But let's go into the full settings now, and the first thing we can take a look at is display. And this is for the on-screen display, so you can see the camera name bottom left, and you have the option to completely hide it or move the position around. Same for the date and time that I have in the middle here, and then you could just choose to completely turn off all watermarks. And then for day and night, for the image settings, I just have it set to auto. the camera will intelligently decide, when to switch between black and white and color. And if we go into advanced, we can change things like the brightness. You can see it's set to 135. If I crank it, you see in real time that that's adjusted. I'll just bring it back to about what it was. And then you can do the same for contrast, saturation, sharpness. Now, we can also go into image stitching, and I've kind of played with this a little bit. So you could see the edge of my driveway here. This is pretty much a straight line. However, if I look at the neighbor's area here, it's a bit distorted. Now I can probably play around with that a little bit more. For example, you could see if I drop this here and you take a look at the garage here, this garage has dropped down. So it's a little bit more normal, but now, my driveway is a little bit off. So I think if I go ahead and play with that plus the distance, I could probably fine tune it perfectly, but I'm most focused on what's going on here. So, which is why I have it just set up right here. Now, the next thing that I can do is I can go into stream and set the parameters for that. So for clear, it's set to the highest resolution. And then the frames per second is 20, and that's the maximum bit rate and iframe interval. And I could go ahead and, drop the frames per second down if I wanted to, say save on storage. Same with the bit rate. And you can also do the same thing for the low setting. Now I've also set the frame rate mode to be constant instead of auto, and same for the bitrate. If I go into motion detection, so motion mark, so this is a beta feature, and you can see if I turn it off, that's what's going to, toggle those blue squares on and off. So I'll leave it off for now. And then I can also go into motion sensitivity, and you can see, you can actually set the, the sensitivity, how high, and the time period that you want it to be high. So you could say that, at night when you're sleeping, that's when you want it the highest. But when you're at home and you're expecting deliveries or, people coming and going, maybe you don't want it that way. So, you have some flexibility there. And then we can go into smart detection, a lot of fine tuning here. So I can go ahead and set, the sensitivity independently for, persons, say vehicles and animals. Under light, again, I've set it to auto instead of, stay off. The camera's just going to intelligently decide. And then for spotlight, you can set the brightness, which I've set it to the maximum. And also, again, you could set it to, come on during a specific time. I've set it for right now in the winter to come on at night and to stop in the morning. But, you can just set it to just stay off all the time, or set it to, night mode, where it'll come on when it sees someone or detects something. Now, if we go into audio, of course, I'm going to want audio recorded with my video. And then you could adjust the speaker volume as well, and then enable, how much noise reduction you want, or if you want to turn that off. And we have the option to overwrite the oldest files, which I've done. And we can have pre-record motion, and you could set how much you want. Now, this is not that important if you have it set to continuous. This is more for event-based recording. Let's go to schedule, and you can see every blue square is where this is active. So because I've set everything to be active and I've ticked off all notifications, this is what's going to give me, the 24/7 recording under this timer feature here. So, if you want 24/7 recording, just remember to enable that. And then you have options for, getting email alerts, FTP, sirens. So you can set it so, it's going to go off whenever motion's detected. And of course, you can set a schedule. So you can say, maybe just at night you want the siren to go off, and if it's only a person, not, a vehicle. And then we can also go into push notifications, and then you could set, how often you want that to occur, from 20 seconds to 2 minutes. And of course, you can set a schedule and the type of detections as well. This takes up to a 256 gigabyte micro SD card. I've inserted a 128. I'm fully utilizing it, but it's going to override the oldest files as I've shown. And then if we go into system, this is where we can just go ahead and add additional users. To review video playback, we'll go to the playback tab, and you could pick a date and the type of motion that you want. So I could say that, hey, I only want to see, human motion or vehicles, for example. And I'll just go to the end of the timeline here, and I'll just go ahead and click on here. And I'll just wait for that to load, and you can see, a vehicle just went by there, so it probably picked that up. And then of course you could go ahead, change the playback speed, and once you see something interesting, you just hit the download button, and it populates, all these type of video files. You could see the start time and the duration, and you could manually just punch into a specific time on here and just take a look at video files, hit that, and then just hit download, and it does its thing. So very simple to navigate. Alright, let's talk video quality, and this thing does phenomenally during the day and at night. And of course, because we're now working with a 16 megapixel sensor versus, the 8 megapixel on the Duo 2, the quality is even better than on the Duo 2, which already was really fantastic. Storing 8K footage obviously takes a lot of space. Now with the Duo 3, we can insert up to a 256 gigabyte micro SD card. And I'm estimating I'm going to get between maybe 3.5 to 4 days of video playback history. That's based, of course, on it recording at the highest resolution at a constant bitrate, constant frames per second, and at 20 frames per second, which is the max on this system. And that's not enough for me because I like to have a camera system where I can get at least 1 week of video playback history. 7 to 10 days is even better for me because if I go on vacation for a week, when I come back, I could review that whole week if something was up. Now, the workaround for that obviously is to just get Reolink's NVR unit, and then those come with a variety of different capacities. For the hard drive, then you can easily get, weeks or months of video playback history. So something to be mindful of, but I do wish that we had the ability to insert, a 512 gigabyte micro SD card. Then we can get, around 7 to 8 days. The spotlight on the Duo 3 maxes out at 560 lumens because it is such a small and compact camera body, but it's still enough to fully illuminate, my car on my driveway, and it can actually reach to the end of my driveway. I'll just lose a little bit of light output as it gets further out, of course, but like I showed with night vision video, it's still plenty enough to have decent color night vision. The Duo 3 has an exciting new feature called motion track. So if you go under email alerts, just go ahead and set it up so you can get email alerts. Set it to text with picture and then go into image setting. And you can see I've enabled motion track and motion timestamp. And what this does is it's going to actually email me an image, and on the image I'm going to see the subject, whether it's a person or a car, and I'm going to see their entire trajectory or path of movement without actually looking at a video. Here's an example of more of the motion track images and the accompanying recorded video, so you can see just how accurate and useful this feature is. The motion detection speed and app alert or notification speed is lightning quick on here, as you would expect, because it is a 180-degree field of view. And that's just another one of the benefits because, you have a full coverage. Basically, you put this to the side of your house, in front of your house, your backyard. There's no real blind spots at all. So as soon as there's any type of movement, a car, a person, an animal, you will be notified right away. It's not like the camera has to pan to where the motion is occurring to detect it. It can just see it all the time. And because the motion detection is so quick, the alarm also kicks in very quickly as well. And here's a demo of that. Here's an example of what two-way talk sounds like. You can hear that it's very clear and very loud. So considering all of that, I can easily recommend the Reolink Duo 3 PoE security camera. I really love the Duo 2, and the Duo 3 just, enhances or improves on that. Whenever someone or something enters the frame, they stay or loiter around or they leave, you always know their full trajectory. With other camera systems, because the field of view is limited, you are going to miss some of that action. Maybe you won't see when they entered the frame, or maybe you'll miss it when they left the frame because they were moving too fast. With this, you're not going to miss anything, and you do have 24/7 recording. Another huge benefit is that there's no monthly fees, unlike some camera brands which have recently increased their monthly fees. So if you're interested in picking up the Reolink Duo 3 PoE security camera, I'm going to leave some links down below. And if you're still debating between, the Duo 2 or the Duo 3, I'll leave a link to my review of the Duo 2 Wi-Fi model. And of course, if you found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing. It truly does help me out a lot, and I'll see you in the next one soon.